Hi, my name is Jacqueline Martinez. I'm a third grade teacher in Dallas ISD. I'm making this video because I want to start a conversation with educators, not only within the district, but basically throughout the nation, regarding this culture of fear that exists in our profession. None of this is new. This all existed, before I ever became an educator. It existed pre-COVID. But I think that now that we are in a situation where we are in a global pandemic and there is no coherent plan except to just throw teachers into the classroom, including teachers who are sick, including teachers who are immunocompromised, and just hoping for the best and cheering them on with toxic positivity, I really feel is a huge injustice within my district, within the state, within the nation. Teachers are not martyrs. We love our students and we love to teach. We clearly did not become teachers for the fame or the money. We became teachers because, as cliche as it sounds, we wanted to make a difference. So the reason I want to start this conversation around this fear culture is because now that we are getting closer and closer to, having to report in person, I know that some districts already have reported in person. And, the strange thing is that for some schools, things are fine. It seems to be going great. And I think it's great that there's teachers out there who don't feel a threat, who are perfectly fine with returning to the classroom. That's great. That's their choice. But it seems that the teachers who are not necessarily afraid of the virus, but just trying to practice caution, which there's a huge difference, we don't have a choice. We are being expected to go back, no matter what. And it seems that if a teacher speaks up, if a teacher wants to, advocate for themselves and demand safer work conditions, this is seen as a problem. This is seen as being synonymous with defiance or being insubordinate or being rebellious. And that's not okay, because if we continue to operate in this mindset, teachers are never going to get the respect that they deserve, and no one is going to care whether we live or die going back to the classroom. Aside from that, there are so many teachers who have reached out to me, teachers I've never met, from all over the country, that have sent me messages telling me their story, but that they're too afraid to, go public with it. They fear losing their jobs. They fear that their contracts won't be renewed for the following year. And understandably so. If you're a parent, if you have a family to take care of, and this is your livelihood, well then of course you don't want to jeopardize that. I completely understand that. What I don't understand is, when did advocating for oneself and sticking up for oneself and demanding safe work conditions become this thing that could possibly mean that you could get fired? That's your right. You have a right to safe work conditions, and if they're not being provided, you have a right to advocate for yourself, and you have a right to demand those things. And so I really want to start this conversation because this has to stop. Prior to the pandemic, there was already this, fear-based culture with school leaders, using intimidation, using fear and guilt and shame to basically control the teachers. And, teachers, the majority of us, we have big hearts, and, nobody wants to cause any trouble. So, Teachers tend to be compliant. That's not okay. And there's so many teachers out there who I've spoken with who agree, but they're afraid. I happen to be in a position where I'm not afraid. I know that there is an injustice here, and I know that somebody needs to speak out, and if it has to be me, then so be it. I don't know if I'm breaching my contract by speaking out, but if I am, so be it. Teachers do not deserve this. Teachers deserve better. And as far as the leaders, principals, executive directors, chiefs of whatever, if you are partaking in this type of toxic leadership, not only do I personally believe that this is unprofessional, it's unethical, and to be honest, it's quite tacky. Why are you in education? There's no reason to talk down to teachers. There's no reason to be intimidating teachers. You should be working with them. You should be supporting them. Because most leaders used to be classroom teachers. Not all of them. Unfortunately, we have leaders nationally, state level, who have never stepped foot in a classroom as a teacher, who have never even attended a public school. And you should be working side by side with the teacher. We're people, we're human beings, and we're part of the few. We're a very small part of the population who's actually willing to go in and work with kids in these underfunded schools, in these horrendous work conditions. And this is the one time that I really think teachers need to put their foot down and establish boundaries, because apparently that's unheard of. If a teacher tries to establish a boundary, suddenly they're rebellious, they're too vocal, they're too demanding, and it is such a strange mindset to operate in when we have the task of molding the future. If we want to teach our kids to stand up for what's right, to be social justice advocates, we need to practice what we preach. But I get it. Teachers aren't going to speak up if they feel that their livelihoods are in danger of being jeopardized. We need to have a conversation about this, and this needs to stop. Even if this means I get fired, so be it. I know I'm a great teacher, and I don't need some evaluation to validate me. I don't think that my value comes from productivity. I don't think that my value comes from test scores. I know I'm a good teacher, and I'm going to keep teaching as long as I can. What I want now, I feel like my mission now is to normalize teachers advocating for themselves, teacher advocacy, and to end toxic leadership, because enough is enough. These are people's lives that are at stake. These are the people who have always been willing to go in front of that classroom and take care of our kids. And let's be real, we've always been seen as these glorified babysitters, but nobody has ever paid us like a babysitter or a caretaker. You go to any, daycare, and they charge way more than what you pay teachers. So the public is basically, getting a service from caring people. And we're always asked to be flexible, and then this is the one time that teachers need that flexibility paid back to them, because yes, we are in the middle of a global pandemic, and you don't want to provide it to teachers, and that is not okay. And I won't stand for it, and I'm not going to stop until teachers are taken care of, until teachers are respected in my district, in my state, in my country. We are not expendable. And you need to start treating us and caring for us like the national treasures that we are, because that's what teachers are. Educators are a national treasure.